skater Anastasia Mishina, who competes in pairs skating with Alexander Goliamov, said she doesn't take her partner's criticism personally after their second-place finish at the Russian Championships in St. Petersburg, noting that they maintain a working relationship on the ice. Mishina and Goliamov finished second at the tournament, scoring 223.63 points combined for their two performances. They led after the short program, but ultimately lost to Alexandra Bykova and Dmitry Kozlovsky, 224-29. It's unpleasant, of course, but I understand that this criticism isn't really aimed at me, no matter what Sasha says. It's just an outburst of emotion. We don't have the concept of fight and make up. We come to practice knowing that everyone should be on the ice in good working order, free of any personal problems. And we work, moving toward a specific goal. Each practice has a plan. We know in advance whether we'll skate the program in sections, in its entirety, or just work on specific elements. We don't discuss any extraneous topics during the process. Wasting time on that would be simply unprofessional. RT quotes Mishina as saying, Goliamov and Mishina are two-time Olympic bronze medalists and world and European champions in pair skating.
Но все равно я самая золотая.
The year has been rich with both joyful and ambiguous and tragic events.
Because it looked very sore from where I was sitting.
In December 2024, it became known that the ISU was one of the first winter federations ready to return Russians to the international arena. However, as the process progressed, many nuances came to light. The alternate neutrals had no chance of being admitted if the main neutrals were suspended. Thus, Russia lost its representatives in pairs and ice dance. The skaters and the federation did not file a lawsuit in cause, apparently hoping to maintain a relationship with the ISU for a subsequent full return. Alexandra Stepanova and Ivan Buchan recorded a video message to the new IOC president, Kirsty Coventry, but there were no other attempts to challenge the decision. By December 2025, talk began of allowing Russians to compete internationally after the Olympics. Adelia Petrosyan and Petr Gumenik won their Olympic qualifying tournaments, but their prospects at the 2026 Olympics remain unclear. In January 2025, a Bombardier CRJ-700 passenger jet crashed near Washington, D.C., en route from Wichita, Kansas, to Ronald Reagan International Airport. The jet collided with a VH-60 Black Hawk military helicopter, and both aircraft crashed into the Potomac River, killing 67 people, 64 on board the jet and 3 in the helicopter. The plane was carrying American junior figure skaters, their coaches, and their families, who had stayed behind for training camp after the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Among the dead were Russian émigrés and world champions Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov, USSR Championship medalist Inna Volynskaya, and renowned figure skater Alexander Kirsanov. Shishkova and Naumov's son, figure skater Maxim Naumov, miraculously survived, having flown out earlier. A large memorial event was later held in the United States, drawing a huge audience by American figure skating standards. President Trump predictably blamed the Biden administration and Barack Obama for the tragedy. Adele entered 2025 as the clear leader of women's single skating, boasting a winning streak at all Russian tournaments and a two-time national championship. But the year turned out to be the most difficult of her career. The pressure of Olympic selection and injuries at one point even called into question her participation in the Beijing Olympic trials. At the end of the year, Petrosyan began to recover, reintroducing Ultra-C elements to training. However, in competition, she's only been able to land a triple axel with a 50% success rate and hasn't managed a single clean quadruple toe loop. However, new names emerged. By the end of the year, Kamila Nelyubova and Maria Elisova were able to land the triple axel, and Maria Zakharova won bronze at the Russian Championships with 2 quadruple toe loops after a serious injury.
Дети, когда их ставят первый раз в 3 года на коньки. Плачут. Коньки в 3 года. 3 года, 3 месяца и поехала. Настя, она не только поехала.
The scandal of the year was the high-profile divorce of the unique Kostelev family from the Angels of Plashenko Academy. Unique in the Kosteleva family are figure skater Elena, who performs 5 Ultra-C elements in 2 programs, and her mother, Irina, who is feuded with virtually everyone else in the skating world during her career as a blogger. At the end of the year, a video surfaced on social media showing Irina hitting Elena. Evgeny Plashenko and Yana Rakovskaya would have liked to keep one of their main stars, but to do so would likely have meant separating mother and daughter. Attitudes toward juvenile justice in Russia are, to put it mildly, ambiguous. As a result, the Kostelevs left for Sofia Fichenko, and the Plashenko Academy lost Russia's best junior skater, but surely breathed a sigh of relief.
Сказали сиять, и он сегодня сиял.
The battle for the men's Olympic berth was much closer than the women's. In February, Vladislav Dikidze, Evgeny Semenenko, and Petr Gumenik were tied for the Grand Prix final. The latter easily won the tournament, setting a Russian points record of 314.54. Gumenik also won the Russian Championships in December, and his victory, despite having an Olympic berth, revealed the true attitude of the competitors. After the scores were announced, Semenenko showed genuine emotion and told Mark Kondratyuk to choke on it. So, there may be far more trash talk and rivalry in our figure skating than we think. In February, SE published an interview with two figure skaters, sisters Maria and Elizaveta Kozlovskaya, who spoke about the harsh methods employed by Ivan and Svetlana Kalistratova's letter school. It all started with candy, then they moved on to pads. Kalistratov also had a rubber palm that he'd wave back and forth, and they'd hit us with it. It hurt more than the pad. Then we learned to jump all sorts of doubles. For every bad jump, they'd hit us with the pad on the spot where we hadn't corrected the mistake. When I did a standing axel, they told me that if I didn't pull my leg up, they'd hit me with the toe cap. Another girl in the group, not her sister, once failed to jump the snipe, and she was indeed hit in the leg with a spike, Maria said. Later, the coaches denied the Kozlovsky family's claims in an interview with Sport Express, but law enforcement launched an investigation. The results were not known by the end of the year. In May 2025, a high-profile scandal erupted in Novosibirsk surrounding figure skating coach Konstantin Medovikov, who was accused of sexually assaulting underage skaters in his group at the local youth sports school. According to parents, Medovikov abused his position to engage in inappropriate behavior during and outside of training, including sending intimate messages and physical harassment. The Russian Figure Skating Federation became involved in the case, but even here, investigators have yet to find sufficient evidence of the coach's guilt. His parents came forward to support him, but ultimately, Medovikov resigned from the school voluntarily. Veronika Zhelina and her mother, Lyudmila Alfarova, are among the year's main newsmakers. Veronika had long tried to transfer to the Azerbaijani national team and received a passport from a neighboring state, but the federation refused to let her go. Zhelina's genuine interest in the streets of Echeri Shehir and other Baku landmarks is indeed questionable, but the strict conditions for Russians to leave the country also raised doubts. One way or another, Zhelina was unable to leave. However, before her daughter's case was heard by the ISU, her mother and coach, Lyudmila Alfarova, also accused her coach, Sergei Rozanov, of sexually assaulting Veronika 5 years ago in a Telegram chat one night before. Rozanov's reputation isn't the best, but no evidence of his guilt was provided. Unexpectedly, in 2025, the main troublemaker and simultaneously the driving force behind interest in pairs skating became world champion and two-time Olympic medalist Alexander Galyamov. Clearly tired of skating to the same music at the same tournaments, he began to harass the audience with attacks on his partner, the judges, and his life in general. It's not that it looks beautiful, but despite the defeat at the Russian Championships in December to Bykova Kozlovsky, Galyamov has no equal in pair skating this year, according to the mentions. In the winter, he also suffered a serious injury during a tournament on Lake Baikal, but thanks to a joint effort, the consequences were long concealed. The skater himself showed a cut finger. Only in September did he admit to a fractured fibula. Tatyana Navkazar Hope's Academy has greatly improved in 2025. Svetlana Sokolovsky's group joined them, which means one of the leaders in men's single skating, Mark Kondratyuk, Anastasia Mukurtova and Dmitry Evgenev, along with coach Alexei Tikhonov, joined them from Eteri Tupridz's group. Finally, Kamila Valiyeva's disqualification ended on December 25th, and if she does compete again, it will be under the banner of this school. Expect further growth from Navka's Academy.